Like I said, I am in New Jersey. This is my how-to series, which I do each week. Try to do a little longer than my daily tip and go a little deeper into an important subject, the one that I see people confront most often. Today's video is about how to know if you should file in New Jersey. So I'm going to cover a few issues to look at and whether or not they are or are not important for you to look at them when deciding. So let's just jump right into it. The first thing you need to decide or calculate is if you've been a resident of New Jersey for at least a year prior to your filing. That is a threshold requirement unless, as we'll talk about in a second, you're seeking to be divorced on the grounds of adultery. You do need to be a resident in New Jersey for the past year or a year prior to the cause of action accruing. Now, if you have what I'll call a garden variety divorce, and I don't mean to sound offensive because I know divorces are challenging and difficult for most people, but if you have a relatively simple divorce case, short-term marriage, maybe no children, few assets, low income, no alimony claim, you probably don't need to take the analysis much further beyond that, but I'm going to go beyond that anyway so that you have an idea of what the law does require. So aside from the residency requirement, there's also going to be the cause of action that you're selecting to file, and each cause of action will have a time frame by which you're supposed to wait for the cause of action to arose, meaning, excuse me, the reason that you're seeking to be divorced has a certain waiting period you need to wait from the time the act happens to the time that you file for divorce. I'm going to quickly go through them, both what they're called and the time frame for them. The first and the most common is irreconcilable differences. You need to allege that the irreconcilable differences have existed at least 6 months prior to the date of your filing. I'm not going to go into the specifics of each cause of action because that's a little bit longer than the scope of this, but you can easily research it. Then there's 18-month separation, which obviously take 18 months. Adultery, which I said has no waiting period. Desertion, which is 12 months. Extreme cruelty, mental and physical cruelty, has a 3-month waiting period. Drug dependency and institutionalism, 12 months. Imprisonment is 18 months. Deviant sexual behavior is 0. So depending on the cause of action that you're seeking to file, you would have to wait that time frame. Most of them, with the exception of 18-month separation, institutionalism, and imprisonment, are 12 months anyway, so you likely would have been married and in New Jersey at least long enough to allege the cause of action to have occurred, except for those other 3, which are 18 months. And lastly, if you meet the first 2 requirements, the residency requirement, and you've chosen a cause of action that applies to your case, third, you need to determine if there's any other jurisdiction that you could qualify to file in and whether or not that jurisdiction is better for you. And that goes back to what I opened up with, and that's saying that if this is a relatively simple case, this is insignificant. But if it's an important case where you have larger issues like domestic violence, pain and suffering claims, alimony issues, significant and possibly interstate assets, then other jurisdiction may or may not be favorable to you. So you should be looking at that also only once you determine if New Jersey is the right jurisdiction to file in. So all these are going to be important criteria. The first 2 are obviously the most important because if you don't match those, you can't file. The third is really just a legal analysis you need to do to what's going to benefit you the most. So I hope this information helps you. If it did, please give a like and share the video and put any comments below to reasons why you did or didn't like it so that I can help improve the content for the videos going in the future. Subscribe and give it a like if you want to get other notifications when I go online. And if there's anything that you want me to cover, just send me a message through whatever platform you're watching and I will try to address it. I am going to sign off. I'm on tomorrow for my daily tip. I haven't picked a time yet, probably later in the evening, which I've been trying to do because I think that might give more time for people to get home and get settled and be able to watch it. But I also like you to give me comments whether or not the times that I'm putting are good or bad for you. Thank you, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.